an AMI digital exclusive.
Okay, Mitchell, here we go. So I'm going to hand you the iPad.
It's already going to be playing, so you just have to watch.
We first met Mitchell in season 4.
Good day to you!
The 22-year-old was looking for his first full-time job. The search was on to find a job that combined his passion for history.
Welcome to the year 1855.
And love of performing.
Those kinds of things could be wonderful in the museum area, in addition to your almost encyclopedic knowledge once you're really interested in something.
Thanks again, for meeting with me today.
It's my pleasure.
But it's a tough industry to break into.
The last position we posted, we had, I think it was about 800 applications come in a 3-day span. There aren't enough opportunities out there for people trying to get in.
You know, having been diagnosed on the autism spectrum, I'm quite accustomed to, overcoming seemingly impossible obstacles in my life.
And with that determination and some supportive words from Dad.
You know so much about this stuff. Go in there and say, I'm going in there to get that job. That's the way you need to walk in there.
Mitchell got a job at the Battersea Museum in Toronto.
I would really love to offer you the job of the virtual docents tour if you would like it.
That's amazing. Yes, I'd love to. I really look forward to starting here. It looks like it's going to be a great institution to work at, and I'm really looking forward to helping them develop a brand new visitor experience. If at any time you wish to pause the tour, that's not a problem. I'll be here whenever you get back. I really look forward. That was such a fun experience. That was really great to see. Oh, wow, that brings back so many absolutely amazing memories.
Mitchell successfully completed his 1-year contract with the Battersea Museum.
I had the great opportunity to help develop different tours for them. And I also ran a really unique game called Shoebox Bingo. That's essentially a game of bingo, but instead using different shoes from their education collection. So, it was such an amazing experience there. See you soon. You as well.
The easing of COVID restrictions led to less demand for his work.
As a result of the return to in-person patrons and really having the opportunity to reopen the museum to the public, unfortunately, they decided to not renew my contract. Just because there really wasn't the demand that we thought there'd be for offering virtual tours. However, I still stay in touch with all my colleagues from the Battersea Museum. And like I say, it was an absolutely extraordinary experience. Since working at the Battersea Museum, I got another contract with Heritage Toronto, where I'm developing a tour of the entertainment district. Unfortunately, I can't release too many details about that right now, but I highly recommend keeping an eye on the Heritage Toronto website for updates in regards to that, hopefully in the next few months or so.
Mitchell is also giving guided tours in period costumes at a local heritage home in Whitby.
Welcome to the Lind House Museum. Now, this was the former home of Jabez and Clarissa Lind. So without further ado, why don't we go on in and take a little look inside. Right this way. I've had the great honor of becoming a member of the board of directors here, and it's been such an honor to be able to join such an amazing team here at the Whitby Historical Society. So welcome to the parlor. This really was your public space. This is where you would have done your entertaining. I very much credit my work here to the various different opportunities that I've had elsewhere in the sector. And to be honest, if it wasn't for the amazing staff and volunteers here, as well as my amazing friends and parents, to be honest, I don't think I would be where I am today if it wasn't for them. All throughout this house, you'll see various different pieces of stencil work as well as various different vintage wallpaper patterns, all of which are based off of historical design. One of the things that I like to do really in my work is really helping to educate employers, about autism and disabilities in general, and really how to make the workplace the best that it can be. I actually held an autism seminar for the staff at the Battersea Museum in order to really help teach them about the best ways to not only assist staff members with disabilities, but also visitors as well to the museum. And it was really interesting to see how my colleagues' sort of perceptions of autism changed as a result of that presentation. They very much did change for the better as well. Welcome to what we consider to be the master bedroom. Now, during the Victorian era, men and women wouldn't have slept together. They would have had their own separate spaces within the house. And it really isn't until really the end of the Victorian era that we begin to see husbands and wives beginning to share bedrooms. One of the most important things, if you really want to keep a job, is if you aren't familiar with a particular skill, never be afraid to ask questions and never be afraid to ask for help. Another thing too is network as much as possible, and also be sure to attend various different educational opportunities, be it seminars and conferences. This is actually the predecessor to the modern day hot water bottle called a pig, and it would have helped to keep your bed warm prior to the days of indoor heating. It was amazing, all the different connections that I've been able to make as a result of the show. Another really interesting aspect that actually ended up happening was I was working at the Battersea Museum one day, and I received a package in the mail. And what was really extraordinary is a woman had actually seen the original episode, and she was so inspired that she actually decided to donate a really, really rare magazine from, I believe it was the 1920s, to the museum. And so that was really, really quite moving, just the idea that, we were able to inspire someone else just by them having watched the episode. So that was just an absolutely amazing experience. Now, I actually have a bit of a personal connection to this. This particular teapot is meant to represent Mr. Pickwick from Charles Dickens' story, The Pickwick Papers. And I did a bit of genealogy research, and as it turns out, actually, Charles Dickens is one of my ancestors, so I always like to point that out to guests whenever they come on a tour there. It's really extraordinary working in the museum's heritage sector during the pandemic. We're always talking about these different major historical events, and it is so true when they say that we are literally living through history right now. And so I really, really look forward to seeing sort of what happens after the pandemic. Are we going to continue offering virtual programs? Because this has been another really, really extraordinary addition to different museums around the world. Now suddenly museums can showcase their collections in ways previously never thought possible. Some talk of Alexander and some of Hercules, of Hector and Lysander and such great names as these. I think the biggest sort of value in working is really having the opportunity to really contribute to society, helping to preserve the past for future generations, and also sharing the stories of the past to help keep the memory of those individuals alive for many generations to come. May they and their commanders live happy all their year. Sing a tow, row, 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 row for the British Grenadiers.
This is Employable Me. Where are they now?
Stream more AMI original content at AMI.ca.